if and when she shows up.
So there's not a lot of change that has happened in the past week.
Right.
But touching on the high points, Ryan is going to be coming back, and he starts on May 2nd, first Monday in May.
Yep.
So by the terms of my contract, he walks in, I walk out. I'm going to talk to the select board on April 11th, see if we need to nuance that language a little bit so that there's more of an overlap.
Okay. Hi,
Hi,
Sandra.
how are you? Sorry I'm late.
Good, no, that's quite all right. Can I interrupt you so that
Absolutely.
we can turn to you?
Oh,
So that way you don't have to sit here and listen to our
okay, no, that's fine.
our stuff
are all of
unless you
you,
want to.
are all of you on the finance committee?
We
Oh,
are.
I thought there was only a board of 3. Okay.
Board of
Hi
5.
David, how are you?
I'm well, how you doing?
Good. Sorry I'm late. Well, I did put together a little package. I haven't been before the finance committee in a long, long time.
We're rough.
I'm sure you are. That's
And we
okay.
multiplied from 3 to 5.
So you guys can share this
We're so bad we
tidbit of
sharpen our
information.
pens.
Oh, so you didn't make enough copies, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I didn't make enough copies.
That's it.
I didn't make enough copies, so.
We can share.
Okay, so, I'm chair of the parks, and we requested, more funding in our budget. I don't know what you know, but we currently have $2,500. Just not cutting it anymore. And so I did a little history for everyone to tell you, I've been a volunteer for 21 years on the parks, and so I'm just kinda telling you where I came in, how it's evolved, and where we stand right now. So I was trying to give you some information about that. And you can read it all yourself, you don't need me to go over it with you. But the biggest thing is the park was fully funded before the charter came into play, and I put approximate dates, 2014, something like that. Before the charter came in, the parks had a $15,000 budget to maintain the parks, and we did a great job doing it. And when the DPW went from a highway department to a DPW, they funded them with the parks money, and they took all of our money but $3,000 approximately. And because we always would do recreational activities for the kids, we used to have a summer rec program, we used to do swim lessons, we used to do classes at the school. None of that happens anymore. So, so fast forwarding to today, Ryan did ask us, we did have a $3,000 budget, and Ryan asked if in 2020 if we would cut our budget by $500 because they were so fearful of the COVID shortcomings, and now the town is just blowing up with money from COVID, truly, if you think about it. But that's not my approach, so we were reduced to $2,500. And so the second page talks about our current expenses, and I guess the whole thing is, when the town took the money away from the parks and gave it to DPW, it was for them to maintain it, and they don't maintain everything. All they do is mow the lawn and weed whack. But there's all these other expenses, like the porta potties. And to be ADA compliant, you have to have a handicap porta potty. Yeah. So I listed the prices, this year's prices, I've called to get them. That's $1,800 just for that one porta potty. And we have a lot of use at the field, so we actually need 2 porta potties, and the regular porta potties are cheaper. And I know we're talking porta potties, but it's an important part of the park. That's $130, so that right there is, it's almost $3,000 of the budget. We have to open and close the irrigation system, and that system is very expensive, and it was put in, I'm gonna say, in the early, it was before I was there. It was there when I came on board, so at least 20 years. And so it needs to be open and closed every year. You need to take care of that. And so that's an expense for us. We do decorate the town common because the parks oversees all the rec field, Charlie Clark Corner, and the town common, so we decorate the big tree. that's in the middle, and we have to hire a bucket truck because the tree's so tall now, we can't decorate it ourselves. And every so often you have to buy new lights, so that's an expense. So we just don't have enough money in our budget to do it anymore. I don't know what else to say. I've been very frugal for a long time. But the people in our committee we do repairs, we do painting, we do landscaping around the bandstand. We're doing all that on our volunteer time. I guess that's the only way to put it. So, moving forward, I have highlighted what I feel the needs for the Curtis Rec Field is, and one of the big needs is trash. There's a trash issue, and what is the best way to address it? So, and I'll be very honest, we've been picking up the trash. So if you read this little blurb, we had a fantastic senior work-off person for like 5 years, and he kept that place immaculate. He did a great job, a lot of pride in his community. He left in 2019, and you have seen the trash come back. And it's not huge trash, it's mostly plastic bottles, a pizza box here or there, but it accumulates over the week, and it needs to be picked up. So, and I'm gonna be honest, I've been doing it since he left. And I don't mind, I have pride in my community, but I'm not gonna continue to pick it up. I'm just not gonna do it.
What do you do with the trash when you pick it up?
I take it home, because DPW will not let us put trash
And you
barrels
pay
down
to
there.
have it taken away?
No.
If you take it home, oh, okay.
Well, I pay out of well,
There's no
we have
dumpster.
trash, but
There's no dumpster in town
No.
that can be relied upon?
well, so if the
There's-
DPW is open, I will drop it off there, but usually it's 2 or 3, Walmart bags. I walk the track a lot, so I just bring my Walmart bags when I go. And, and to back up a little bit, so we had trash barrels there and we had a dumpster there. But what was happening is either the trash wasn't being removed on a regular basis and it was overflowing, and people were leaving household trash
Yeah.
on the dumpster.
Yeah.
And I think because it's right there on 62
Oh,
or
yeah.
68, easy for people to drop by, dump their trash, going to work, what have you, take off. So DPW and us decided we're gonna try carry in, carry out. That worked very well when we had that volunteer, cause all the little miscellaneous bottles being dropped here and there, he would pick up and he would take it to DPW and dump it off. We don't have that option anymore. So I did have a discussion with David and DPW, and I'm just trying to figure out what's gonna work for everyone to make it continue to look really nice, cause to me, that's the gemstone of the town. I mean, that place is used by so many people. DPW does not want us to put trash barrels back down there.
Why?
You were in that conversation. They say they don't have time to dump the trash.
Bullshit.
So I'm not pointing fingers, I'm trying to work together and solve this problem. So that's kind of why we went and said, well, maybe we could hire someone who can clean the park once a week. And we kind of said maybe $100 a week would cover that cost. Okay, that would be $5,000 more a year, which is what we asked for. But then we started looking into some other options, because everyone knows finding someone to work is kind of difficult, especially if you only want someone to work 5 or 10 hours a week. So we actually looked into the Big Belly solar trash compactors. And the guy gave us a great presentation. I want to look at that. I was very sure, we were all very shocked, it was not as expensive as we thought they would be. They give you 2 options, you can lease them or you can buy them outright. Leasing them is about $150 a month. But when we were paying for the dumpster, that was $250 a month. And
Yeah.
we got rid of the dumpster like in 2017, so this is cheaper than the dumpster. It will compact up to 150 gallons of trash. And basically it looks really kind of neat. It's very ergonomic. I would have printed out the whole thing, but it's like 30 pages long. So Parks really said, you know what, this might be a good thing to try. It would be clean, it would be neat, it's gonna compact, and it would be easy to unlock the back, take that compacted bag of trash out, and put a new bag in, and we were hopeful that maybe DPW would work with us, thinking this would be a good option, and it would be clean for everyone, and they would only have to do it like maybe twice a month. So that was my thinking, or our thinking as the park, that this might be a good thing to try, to see if it would work.
What about the trash that people doesn't make it into the trash cans?
So I will tell you, if you've driven by the parks today or during this week, people are willing to pick up the trash. They're not willing to take it home with them. So even when I pick up the trash, I will meet people that will say, oh, I would help out the trash, but there's no place to dump it. I don't want to take it home with me. So I've actually said, here's a Walmart bag. Do you want to pick it up and leave it by my car? And so they'll do it. And we're not talking hours of picking up a trash. We're talking maybe a few hours spread out throughout the week to keep it clean. So I actually had bought a whiskey barrel and donated it to the park so I could put pretty flowers in it and make the park look beautiful. Well, the other day I said, oh, I gotta pull those boughs out for winter because I put boughs in there. I pulled them out. What do you think is in that whiskey barrel? Trash. People use it as a trash can. So people will take the time to pick up some of their trash and put it in the trash can and, you know, just throw their own personal trash away. And it's mostly Dunkin' Donuts cups, soda cups, water bottles. That's really mostly what we're seeing. So, so I do think if we put something there, that the majority of the town is gonna pick it up. And, you know, and we do have new signs that have come up that we've made up that aren't, yet put up because we haven't gotten them yet, but specific locations by the picnic tables, please take your trash with you. You know, just to encourage people to do this more often. So
Make sure that sign complies with the zoning ban.
Oh, geez, yeah. Oh, they're not that big, but they're right by the picnic tables. They're gonna be right by, so we were thinking we could maybe put the signs right by where these big belly things are. So, truly, the big bellies, solar things, they are, they're more cost effective than hiring someone, you know, from our point of view. And I just think people today, a lot of people today are into recycling and you know, all your kids, they're being raised this way. And I truly believe most of the trash being left there is just forgotten. You know, like parents rushing off the field from a hot soccer game, or, you know, the skate park might be a little different, a lot of teenagers going on there, but, so that's our push. That's not our push, that's our request that something needs to be done, and I don't know what's gonna happen if we don't do anything.
Can you explain that, what is
Sure.
HC?
High compact.
High compact,
Yeah.
what's the two? Is it two high
Oh,
compact?
so he gave us, so he prices out for 10 units is what it is. We don't want all this.
No,
We were thinking, so this
one
is,
of each?
so the price he gave us for this is if we did 10 units. You get a discount if you have 10 units.
We don't need
And
two.
we don't want 10. Parks was actually thinking maybe 2. You know, that would run about $3,500 for the year for those 2. You know, maybe put one up on the, you know, the up going towards the walking track. So when people are coming off there, and maybe one over by the basketball and the skate park. You know, because that's where people are coming and going from there. So, you know, this is what we're looking to do. And we thought leasing it would be the best way to start, just to see how it goes. Their leasing contract is 3, 5, and 8 years. And the other thing, when you lease them, they maintain them. I mean, they come and clean it once a year. If you have any kind of problem, they come and fix it. You know, when you buy it, you own it. So
Right.
then you're hiring them to come and
Right,
fix
and
it
it
and
breaks,
repair it.
you own it, you gotta pay for that, so.
Yeah, correct.
So what is the price for, so this is the price for 2 units, let's see, the first one's $238 a month?
Yes, but that's if you have 10, so you get a discount if you have 10 of them. So basically, without the discount, because we would only have 2 of them,
So two-
it's like $150 a piece a month, so it would be
So
like 300.
$300 a month.
For 3 years.
For
That's,
3 years.
that's the shortest term. you can do
That's the
lease.
shortest term that they'll lease.
Would they take us out of the lease if we bought them?
I don't know, I didn't ask that.
And what does it cost, what do they cost?
They are $4,900 a piece.
Well,
Which, when you think about it, that makes more sense in the long run, but you don't get the maintenance with it. And what if 3
Right.
years down the road, we're like, yeah, this isn't working?
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet they'd sell us a maintenance contract, I can't.
Well, they probably would, but,
Yeah.
But they would own it if it got vandalized.
so, there's certain things
Well,
they
that's a good
won't cover,
question.
they don't cover vandalism,
Right.
and they don't cover if it's hit by a car.
Right,
Those were the two big things, it's only if it mechanically breaks down, it
right,
doesn't work,
that
yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense.
So, so this is what we came up, and we're gonna meet with the Board of Selectmen to discuss the trash issue as well. I mean, I'll be honest, if someone says, DPW, you're putting trash barrels and you're hauling them out, that resolves this issue, okay? But I just don't see that happening. I'm trying to,
I don't understand that.
I'm trying to have a nice relationship and make it work. We're just trying to come up with options, so.
Alright, so you're looking for money for the rental of these two units?
Yep, as one option, yep.
Okay.
But that would still
That's more
depend
than-
on somebody emptying them.
Correct, but again, trying to get a nice relationship continuing, if you have to empty them twice a month, I don't know why that, we're trying to make it easy
Okay,
for those who might be responsible.
So it's $300 a month
Per unit, per lease?
for two units,
Correct,
For 2 units,
right? Okay, so that'd be $3,600 a year,
which is the purchase price of one.
kinda, sorta. But I'm just, and you're asking for 5,000, so you would have $1,400 left over that would go towards some of these current expenses?
current expenses, yeah.
Okay, is that enough?
You know, we're trying to make it work,
No,
without
but-
asking for too much money,
No,
yeah.
but is that enough? Cause if I add 1,400 and your regular budget of 25, that's $3,900, and where are we in the scheme of things here? Is that enough money?
Well, I didn't add up all the math, but,
27,
18,
37 is pretty tight.
22. Well, we're asking for an additional 5 with the 25 we have, so that would give us 75. Cause you never know what miscellaneous things come up,
So
and
you're, okay, alright.
so altogether, we were looking for an additional 5 on top of the 25.
Right. Okay.
So, and like on the front, we do talk about, there is a trust fund still available. It's been there since like 1995. It's had like $20,000 left in it at that time. It was, set up when the fields were done in the late 80s, I wanna say around there, by the local businessmen. And, so we've been very frugal using it, but some expenses that we end up having to pay for, which I had brought to Ryan in the past, was why do we have to pay for the parking lot to be painted? Like when they paint the lines, DPW will set it up, sends us a bill, $800, $900. So we have used the trust fund for that. The irrigation system, we've had different issues with that now and again. We had a frozen pipe, that was $1,500. The pump on the well went, that was like $4,000. So
How did those get paid for?
out of the trust fund,
I see.
that we've used the trust fund, but the trust fund's down to $8,000.
Okay.
And I really don't want to use that trust fund to pay for porta potties, you know,
Well, not for your operating
yeah.
expenses.
so, yeah, and other than that, the fields are in great shape. You know, we do our best. That new playground has a tremendous amount of activity, which is wonderful. You know, we do our best to keep things maintained. We paint the skateboard, you know, we paint the things there, and we actually have to move them. But so we're trying our best with what we have, and so we're just looking for some assistance to cover these annual costs, as well as try to decide how to handle the trash issue. Okay?
So based on your experience in picking up trash, you think 2 units is sufficient?
I do.
And that handles trash, does not handle recycling.
It doesn't, and we talked about recycling, cause you can get the recycling, but there's no recycling in town. I mean, where are you gonna send it? I mean, so if DPW picks up recycling, they're gonna throw it in their dumpster. So, that was our thing, like, where would we recycle it?
Okay.
So. Any questions for me?
I don't have any. Anybody can? Anybody have?
I have a question.
Sure.
What about, I mean, like Harvey Industries, have you talked to them at all?
I haven't talked to them. We were trying to stay away from open containers, you know, like open dumpsters or
Yeah.
things, because people are gonna throw their trash in it,
Yeah.
so.
That fascinates me.
Oh, it was,
That,
I'd rather them put it there than in the woods though.
yeah,
It
yeah.
all fascinates
They're gonna
me.
do that anyways.
I mean, we've actually, the
Okay.
bottle and can collection thing down there, people
Yeah.
have thrown trash in there, they're trash,
Yeah, it's just,
it's just,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Alright, I was just curious.
Alright.
And obviously the majority of people aren't doing that, but you have people who
Well,
are
you
doing
have enough
that.
who are that are making it a problem. Trash cop.
That's why we have the annual cleanup coming up.
Right.
Yes, and actually I did approach them, cause I said to them, I know Laura anyways, I'm like, so Laura, I understand she's requesting money from the town, I'm like, oh, are you gonna do a cleanup more than once a year? I mean, you know, she's like, no, it's once a year, and I'm like, okay, that's great, I'm really glad we're doing that, but, you know, some areas need cleanup weekly, so,
Well, yeah. Okay. All right.
anything else?
I'm good.
Okay,
David?
Just
Okay.
a technical point, Department of Revenue will allow us a 3-year contract. If we wanna go to 5 years, we need a town meeting vote to authorize that. So if we're gonna go with a longer term contract, we just need to put in an article.
Right. Okay. And we would presumably get some price break for a longer.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
10%, yeah, each,
Yeah. Alright.
it's 10% for the 5 and then 10% for the 8. And then the more units you have, at least 10,
Right.
it's a break too.
Right. Right. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
alright, thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for coming
time.
in.
Yeah, do you want me to take your papers and recycle them, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Actually, could I have a copy?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you actually give
Oh.
me,
Or no?
let me have that, and I have
Is
that,
there one
and
of
I'm
those?
good. Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandra.
Alright, thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, back to our town administrator's report.
Okay, so Ryan is coming back on May 2nd. We're gonna work on transitioning. We got news today that we received a pilot payment in excess of $27,000, and we thought we were gonna get, looking for $360, and we got $387.
Well,
So, that's good news. We also got news that we will receive for the winter relief funds. We'll be receiving $280,360 for that. We're just waiting for the governor to sign off on that.
what are we using that for? Just roads?
You can use it for roads, bridges, traffic control devices, signage, guardrails, storm drains, road striping and painting. We got a lot of discretionary
Right.
purchase power there.
Roads and road stuff. Cool. Okey-dokey.
Alright, so the Baker administration has filed legislation to use state monies as a leverage and a match to compete for federal projects concerning infrastructure. So that's something that the department heads are gonna start working on, is what kind of grant programs do we have out there that we can address culverts, roads, hopefully broadband, things like that, and that's, we're gonna be piggybacking off the state's $9 billion that they received from the federal government under the Infrastructure Act. So we're gonna have a busy summer.
Good.
Any day now, the House Ways and Means Committee is gonna release their budget recommendation, which will affect, hopefully in a positive way, the state aid. As soon as I get that information, I'll share it with you. I'm hoping that it takes some pressure off the budget. And just as a technical point, I know that we're gonna be talking to the schools and other entities, and should we get to the point where we have to consider an override, that date for filing that with the town clerk for the annual election would be May 10th. I'm not suggesting that we do file for an override, but I just wanna make sure everybody knows that deadline.
Ready? Any more news about our cell tower?
We had a staff meeting today to talk about the cell tower, and we are going to form a delegation of the chief of police, chief of fire, and myself, and we're gonna go down to Rutland and just say, hey, what's the deal?
Good.
AT&T is putting up a cell tower nearby, so it can be done very quickly.
Okey-doke. Alright, anybody have any questions? We all good? Good. Okey-doke. Alright, reports of members serving as committee reps on other town committees, capital planning, any news? Anything going on?
Did you hear anything?
Well, one thing that I did determine is that the request from the fire department for $17,500 for radios has already been funded through ARPA. So we can take that off the capital plan for the annual town meeting and take that additional money and put it into general stabilization and capital stabilization. I looked at the capital planning committee's website, and I see that you had a bunch of meetings back in January.
They had them in January?
Yeah.
Oops. Okay.
21?
I think it's 22.
Yikes. Alright. Meanwhile, on the ARPA committee, the ARPA committee found my advocacy about the fire department unpersuasive. To my surprise. So, I invited Chief Hayes to join us at our next meeting of ARPA so they can say no to his face.
Good.
That's the plan.
So for both, they're saying no for both things,
Yeah, yeah. So anyway,
Wow.
so that's that.
Hope they don't ever need the services of those vehicles.
Well, they continue to insist that it's in the capital plan for later on, and so we don't need it, we don't need it right this minute.
Doesn't make sense. Okay.
So that's that.
Yep.
Alright, let's talk about the budget. Where are we? Okay, so David has given us this new spreadsheet.
That's
And how is this different from what we had going on here?
the spreadsheet on the legal size paper is the funding plan for the annual town meeting, so it includes the budget as well as all other items that cost money. So the capital plan,
Yeah, you can look at that with me.
CPA.
I printed it at home, so
Thank you.
might need
Yeah.
glasses, so.
So
I
the
got 'em, but I'm
areas of the budget that are of concern are the Quabbin Regional School District assessment, which still stands at 12.9%. The Massachusetts assessment went up by about $37,000.
Mhm.
That seems pretty fair given the increase in the enrollment from Hubbardston. I was able to balance the budget with those two items in place, probably, definitely not giving Quabbin the amount of money that they think that they need.
Mhm.
And then the other issue is the building inspector. Since Gardner is selected not to renew our relationship for inspection services.
Mhm.
I'm talking to the towns of Hardwick, Berry, and Oakham for a shared building inspector program.
What do they do now?
Right now, Berry and Hardwick share a building inspector. I
Mhm.
don't know about Oakham, we've been playing phone tag on that score.
Okay.
I have this in front of the select board for Monday, April 11th. Hope to be able to put something together so that we have inspection services come July 1st.
What has the experience of the shared building inspector been for
Good.
those towns? Do you know?
I think in general good.
Okay.
The building inspector out of Hardwick is very well regarded.
Mhm.
Certainly it's gonna be better than what we've gotten.
Well, yeah, I was wondering if
Yeah.
it was in fact better, or if they were, or if there were some issues there.
well, it's, their towns are not a city, so that's a bonus right off the get-go, I think.
Well, they're also involved with us in other ways too, where Gardner really isn't.
Right,
They're
yeah.
more neighborly for us. Okay, good, cool. Alright, so well, can we find $5,000 for Parks and Rec? Okay, good. I don't think we need to take a vote on that, I think
I'm good.
that can
I'm
just,
good with it.
it's just gonna,
You gotta,
yeah,
I
just
mean,
gonna-
they gotta,
it's just gonna
they gotta
happen.
be able to operate, you know,
Well, yeah.
somebody.
Well, yeah, well, I'm surprised.
Everybody uses
Sugar
that
Apples won't pick
field.
up the trash.
Can the selectmen direct
What is wrong with
the
the
highway
DPW?
DPW to maintain the trash?
Are we being
I-
Or is
billed?
it up,
I would think
does
so.
Travis say, no, I'm not doing it?
I'm surprised by that too,
I
because
don't
we've
know.
really been
I
helped
understand.
out the DPW. I know
Travis
they've
reports
asked
to
for a
you,
lot of
right?
things, and
Yes.
we've
So
definitely.
I mean, I can do that.
So, okay, so
What, you can tell DPW to pick up the trash?
Yeah, I wanna make sure that Ryan's gonna support,
Well, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, to speak plainly, it doesn't seem like a squabble between two entities should result in taxpayers paying more money. That's the way
Right.
I kinda look at it.
Right. It's, you know,
Well, yeah, that or that can come out of the DPW budget. They can pay for the solar powered trash compactors, which is a good idea on its face.
it's a great idea,
But-
well, as long as they work.
yeah.
I think I seem
Might
to
be eligible.
recall coming across them in my travels a while ago and
Yeah.
Elsewhere, and everybody liked them.
Yeah.
Sounds like the type of trash that's going in will compact quite easily, cups and bottles.
Yeah, it's cups.
When I think of what I pay for my E.L. Harvey, maybe I'll go.
It just went up
Jerk faces.
again,
I know.
159
Yeah.
every 3 months.
My,
It's gone up, it goes up every 3 months since I've
yeah.
had them. I'm gonna stop burning, fuck it. So they did in the old days.
Well, yeah.
With,
Okay.
with regards to the QRSD assessment, what type of increase do you think that we could shoulder?
I'm sorry, say that.
Oh, sorry. What type of increase could we? Like, we can't do the 12.9 or whatever it is %, but what is sort of a breaking point for us? Do you think?
Well, I gave him a 2.5% increase. we could probably go up to 5. And after that, you start breaking piggy banks and
Yep.
putting free cash back into the budget, which
I didn't
You-
play with the spreadsheet, what was the upshot?
I had played with it. I mean, I had looked at something like even if their budget increases only 2.5%, which is probably not even feasible, it still hits us with like 8%. So yeah, I mean that's that for us to get 5%. They're talking about almost, you know,
Level
level.
fund.
Yeah, probably like a 1% increase or something. I don't know the spreadsheet in front of me, but
Mm.
so.
At what point does it end, though? I mean, I on the spreadsheet, I saw their budget from last year to this year. I mean, what's the huge increase? You know, I just don't understand. I mean, I understand you have contract raises and this and that, but
Well, what I did all
Over
those
a
years
million.
ago is I went through it line item by line item to see what they were writing up, and I recategorized things because I didn't like the way they had things broken out. So I lumped all personnel together. Instead of how they had it broken out before, and I haven't looked, I don't know. I expect they are still doing it the same way, but I don't know, cause I haven't looked at their budget. To cast it in the most unfavorable light that I could, and call some of that stuff out. What I did notice is that they've got, as in that prior year, they've got 3% raises baked in for all their admin.
just
3?
Yeah,
for a year
well, for this year.
for this year.
For this year, they're getting a 3% raise.
Yeah.
So I always like to call that out.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of other people in the normal world don't get raises.
Well, that's the point. Most of the townspeople that showed up that year to town meeting, they didn't get no raises either, so they weren't warm to the idea, among other things. But,
So you're telling you're going, telling Quabbin, this is how much we can pay?
Yeah, we're meeting with them with the select board on Monday, the 11th. So there'll be a showdown there.
they're coming to the select board meeting, it's not
Yes.
not a separate thing?
They're coming to the select board.
Okay, cool. Then I'll wander in and listen. Okay. Alright, do we have anything else to discuss then about the budget? I mean, we're stuck on the school, so that's kinda where we're at.
Yep.
Are there any other line item things we should be considering, other than Sanda's $5,000?
We can go through, in terms of the budget, I think things are pretty straightforward. The department has did a marvelous job of keeping things, if not level funded, certainly level services. We can go through the warrant and pick off the easy articles,
Yeah.
Would it be helpful if I just walked us through?
Yes, it would.
Articles 1 through 5 are consent agendas. Articles to hear the officers' reports, to authorize select board to enter into chapter 90 agreements, to accept educational grants and other gifts, and continue to use the Holden Hospital account funds for yet another year. So these are articles that we all think are non-controversial
Right.
and don't require a whole lot of debate, so if everybody here there is an agreement, I'll say the finance committee recommends the first 5 articles.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Yeah,
objection?
well, let me just interrupt, is this gonna be ready for us to vote to give recommendations on now?
Yes.
Okay, good, alright, so we'll hold till the end, we'll go through everything and then we'll, if there's anything we need to call out, we can call it out, cause otherwise at the end we're gonna move to do the whole thing.
Article 6 at the bottom of the second page. This is something that I did not put into the consent agenda, but I think in future years you should. This is basic housekeeping kind of article. Has everything to do with cash flow. We don't get a lot of cash between July and December. Tax bills aren't due until January 1st or something like that, so there's not a lot of money flowing in. But there is a lot of money flowing out. Chapter 90, teachers pay debt service, benefit costs. In most years, we don't have a problem with the cash flow. It's tight, but it's not too constructive. This past year, we had the school roof project going on at the same time. So there was a lot of cash going out there. And at one point, we were worried, the treasurer and I were worried that we were not gonna be able to make payroll by the end of December. And I said, well, we just turned to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 4 and do temporary borrowing in anticipation of revenues coming in the latter part of the fiscal year. So we'd be basically borrowing from future revenues. Turns out we have not accepted that provision. So fortunately, we had the ARPA money coming in, so problem solved and the cash flow issue is in our rearview mirror. But we should have this tool in our toolbox.
Alright, so this needs to go in every year,
Yes.
okay.
And I'm holding it out of the consent agenda because it's new and different, and it's likely to engender some discussion. But once we've gone through this town meeting, next town meeting, this should be in the consent agenda.
Okay, good.
Article 7, this is the revolving funds.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, these are the first chunk of revolving funds are standing revolving funds that are useful and productive. At the beginning of the top of the page on the 4th page, there are 2 new revolving funds, wiring and plumbing and gas, and this is for the building permit issue that we're facing with the city of Gardner not renewing. And then finally, those revolving funds that are inactive or unproductive, and we can get rid of them. So we reaffirm what's existing, we add 2 new ones, and we get rid of, 4 or 5 dead ones.
Okay.
Article 8 is the budget, and that's still in play. Article 9 is the Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School. Article 10 is the assessment for Quabbin.
That's right, I forget.
Article 11 is the debt service for Quabbin. We don't have a choice in that one,
Right.
so I think you should take a vote on that tonight.
Yeah, okay.
11?
11.
11. Alright.
12, I wanna work with the cable committee on this one, so we're not ready for prime time on this one. 13, this is a sweep article that does 2 things. There's 49,500 left over from the elevator project in the center school. We'd raised 50,000 of free cash for this project. Senator Grovey came in and got an earmark in the budget, so we used state money first. That project is done. This 49,560
Yay.
can go back to free cash. And And then we have a vehicle that we borrowed $30,000 to purchase and equip. We have finished that project, no further expenses associated with it. We're able to keep it below 30,000, so we want to clean up the chart of accounts by lowering the borrowing authorization to match what we actually spent. And that way we don't have to be bothered with old fossil amounts going to the SEC and having to be recorded and audited, and just cleans up the books.
Okay.
Just as a side note, for Article 13 at the special town meeting, we're gonna have something on the order of $400,000 adjustment on the school roof project.
Oh,
So
in which direction?
it's and down.
Oh, good, the good direction.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It sounds like there's a bunch of big bags of money on the table. It's just borrowing authorization.
Oh,
Alright, sorry.
okay. Alright,
Article 14 is the capital plan. And I took off the radios in order to reduce the capital plan from 427 to 409,500. And I redeployed the savings into another article. Article 15 is 5,000 free cash in order to do the background research into properties where the ownership is either unknown and there are taxes that are due. The amount of taxes that can be collected is something on the order of $20,000. So 5 will get you 20.
why don't we know?
Why don't we know?
Yeah, why,
Land of low value, swampland, uplands, rock. Every town has got mystery ownership of riverside land, junk land, swamp.
we've never looked at this before? I guess not.
Not that I know of,
Okay,
so we're looking
Alright.
at it now.
okay, cool.
So what, we hire a lawyer to do some title work, is
Yeah.
that what that
Yeah.
is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
get it, either use it for municipal purposes or get it back on the tax rolls,
okay,
one or the other.
alright.
Article 16, this is for the lot 57 environmental remediation and cleanup. So this is the cost for that project for the next year.
Is that the lot that, for which that blower thing that Travis wants
Yeah,
is related to? Okay,
so it's the old shooting range, so there's lead in the soil and it's the dumping ground for the street sweepings. So
Right.
both of those have to be reported to the Department of Environmental Protection. And this number I'm gonna try to negotiate it down, but this is what we need to be thinking about.
okay, alright,
Article 17 is the contribution of free cash into the general stabilization account and the capital stabilization account. And the current balances for both those accounts, stabilization is 543,000 and change, and capital stabilization is 158,000 and change. Article 18, CPA article. The first one is the administrative article where we set aside money into the various buckets according to law, and we have an administrative expense of $6,000. This all comes out of CPA money and there's no impact upon taxes for any of that.
yeah, I guess gone back and forth on this, the CPA articles don't affect taxes, but we have, we, and by we, I mean me, and the finance committee have no visibility into what CPA does.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether we should be making any recommendations about anything.
I recall
I
a
mean-
conversation when I was brandy new here that we should get a finance committee representation on the CPA committee.
Right,
And I
Right.
kicked around the idea of redoing the CPA membership article to include finance committee. So
and what happened? Nothing?
I didn't get a whole lot of support on that one.
Who did you ask?
CPA, talked to the select board, talked to Ryan.
Oh,
I mean, I think truthfully there wasn't a whole lot of headwind or resistance to this. It was just we had so many other things happening at the time that I didn't have the bandwidth to move this forward.
okay, yeah, no, that's fine,
Yeah.
that's fine, no, I was just, didn't know whether there was be any resistance. I would be surprised if there was any resistance. Well, well, I don't know, I mean, I don't, what did we think about this?
I think that was our justification for not weighing in on previous CPA.
That's right,
Yeah,
that's right,
yeah.
yeah, I'm kinda thinking
I mean,
that's,
And we were in the dark about the
yeah,
property up in on the Princeton Road property that went to town meeting last year. They had to come in and basically educate us about the whole thing. Yeah, I think someone on our committee should be part of that.
yeah, I mean, if we have to recommend something for them, I mean, we have to recommend these revenues, right?
well, I think
Or do
then
they,
what
could we
we
ask them to
CPA
send
or
would
sort
do
of
is just,
report?
we would
They
take
could-
no position, I mean, that
That's-
would be
yeah,
the
right, that's what we do.
recommendation ultimately.
But I mean, could we ask the CPA or whatever, CPC to have like an annual financial report for us? Like, I mean, that would be the other sort of oversight means.
Well, I decided, because if my memory serves me right, at least at one point, our friend Sanda was the chair of the, committee. And I thought about sandbagging her, now that I had her in here, but I decided not to, as you saw. But I had invited her to come to one of our meetings once before, and she declined. So, I think, we can do that again, but in the meantime, because we don't have time for any of that, my view on this would be to offer no recommendation for or against on any of this, on any of the, CPA articles, because I don't know. I mean, this all would seem to be reasonable to me, but I couldn't give you a reason for or against.
This just don't, I mean, could CPA funds be used for the trash issue on the rec field?
I was thinking about that when Sandra was talking, that it could be green communities money, it could be CPA money, it could be town funds.
And CPA comes
I
from
would
excise
say that
taxes.
it's park and rec
Technically.
related.
No, it's a percentage of our property tax.
Oh,
goes
it goes
into
to
that.
CPA,
Goes to
okay.
that, yeah, 1% or 3% or something like
I
that.
think you're at 1%
Yeah,
above on anything over $100,000 value. So the first $99,000
doesn't
dollars is tax exempt, and then whatever is remaining gets 1% surcharge.
Okay. Alright, anyway, so back to, we were talking about whether other money could be used for the $5,000
Yeah.
thing.
Would it have to be voted on, but at town meeting for the CPA funds?
Yes, the CPA has to be voted. If it's green communities money, then it does not, it would be part of the grant program.
Green communities, solar trash machines.
Yeah.
green to me.
I like the idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what if we did that?
I like the idea.
I've got about $130,000 of Green Communities money that I'm setting up for Ryan, and maybe I can blend that in.
What is that, 2 machines?
Yeah, $3,600, that's not terrible, that's not too much of a hit on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it otherwise earmarked for, anything, or is it just sitting in a,
I think on the
Sitting on a
capital
mattress.
plan, there's the furnace replacement for the library, and I think there's something else that I can't remember, but it's not gonna use up all the funds.
oh, okay,
Solar trash machines, I like it.
so would that, so for her 5K, she's got a 5K ask, even though the trash thing is 3,600, that whole 5K coming from green funds?
Well, I came up with two trash
That's it?
machines for 3 years would be about $10,000.
Oh, alright, okay,
That's lease,
that's for our lease, yeah,
and then at the end of that 3 years, if we wanna buy them, I mean.
I wouldn't buy them, I'd keep
No.
these.
Yeah, cause I mean, you
Take
buy 'em,
long
you're gonna
days.
have headaches 3 or 4 or 5
Well,
years
in
down the
3
road.
years, the thing's gonna be a piece of,
Yeah, they gotta
it's gonna
replace,
belong in its own dumpster,
they gotta
so
replace them, so it's mechanical like anything else, like a car, so.
Yeah. It's gonna get rained and snowed on and all this baloney.
Kids spray painting it,
Well, anyway. Ugh.
Alright,
Okay, good.
Article 19 is the debt service for the Rainbows End Playground for the CPA. Article 20 is the debt service for the library roof. Article 21 is
So even though those have been approved, we need to vote each year to pay for what we had already borrowed.
yeah, I tried to consolidate the article, I tried to make it a little bit more robust, and unfortunately, the state law does not allow us to do that, so we have to pedantically go through and vote every year and keep the votes separate.
Okay.
So Article 21 is $25,000 for CPA money
Oh, yes.
for the Ragged Hill Road project. They also submitted a request for $25,000 for ARPA funds, and they're very clear that if this gets approved, then the request for ARPA will go away.
Right.
so what did they get last year? 15,000 at town meeting?
I think it was
15, I think I remember.
yeah, something like that, 15 or 20.
This thing's starting to be a drain. Or is this for another house, or is it for the same house?
Same
too?
house.
Same
The
house?
house that's being built now.
Up on Ragged Hill.
It's almost finished, right? No?
But that,
Yeah, it is almost finished. That's my understanding. 'Cause I read something else, or else they brought something to the ARPA meeting that they've identified the family, and the family is all excited, and, you know, all that promotional stuff.
Oh, they don't do a lottery for that?
Well, they may have, but
Oh, they've already
whatever they've
done
done,
that.
the family has been selected.
Who does it, Habitat? They do all
Yes.
that?
Habitat does.
Okay.
Yeah, Chuck's wife is on board with that process, so maybe you can speak to that. It's almost finished, right, Chuck?
Yeah, it's been going on a year, I think, now. Good. More kids coming in?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
But if CPC pays for it, then that frees up $25,000 of ARPA funds that we could maybe use for the fire engine, maybe. Times, you know,
Ugh, yeah, buy
that
one
Well,
time.
It's
is there a
crossed off the
is there a better
list.
source? Is there a better way to do it? Is one more advantageous than the other?
So, are they looking for 25 from the ARPA, or?
Yes,
Same amount,
it's
same
the same
amount?
amount,
Same.
and they're going in two places in case one falls through
I'd
their
rather have
track.
them take it from ARPA and leave this alone.
Yeah, they're not asking for 50,000,
Right,
just asking for 25.
25, right,
Yeah,
and get
they
it from
get it
either or supply.
they get it from
Yeah.
one, they're not gonna take it from the other. Well, if you don't take it from here, then CPA keeps the money, and if you, don't take it from ARPA, then like Josh said, that goes into our fire truck fund.
Right.
Here again, the CPA is not money, it doesn't affect our taxes,
Right.
it's money
It's
that's.
set aside,
it's-
but it just sits there if
Yeah.
Right,
it's not used.
Right.
So
So it would be better for opera to pay the 25.
I would think be the other way around.
Yeah, if ARPA paid, that's less chance of getting a piece of fire apparatus, right?
Well, yeah,
My feeling is that we should go for the CPA money because CPA monies tend to accumulate and they're restricted in their use, so particularly small towns sometimes have trouble keeping the CPA amount below a certain level. And it looks like they're just sitting on piles of cash.
mhm,
So whenever you have the ability to spend down CPA,
Okay.
I always like to go for it. Particularly since it is tax money and you don't wanna be in a situation where you're taxing people
Right.
and they're
No.
not spending the money.
right. Alright, good. Alright,
Last but not least is Article 22, this is a housekeeping issue. We have fines for dogs that are not registered or running around and not on a leash. The state law got amended and our local bylaw no longer corresponded in terms of the fines. So we are reintroducing this article in order to catch up with these changes in state law. And everything else is zoning articles.
you're deleting the sentence in Article 22?
Yeah, so if you look about halfway down through Article 22, it says, and
It's like
substitute
doubling
in its
basically
place the fine structure.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah. Wow. Crow. Okay, good. Lovely. Accessory dwellings. Alright, okay, so they're gonna talk about that, and then lovely, Article 24 is about is what? Solar installations, is this for? Grid scale battery energy storage systems. What are these for?
For storing electric.
Yeah, but who would have such a thing?
Large solar development. with-
Our solar fields?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Batteries? I thought they'd feed that right into the grid.
They do, but what if the grid goes down?
Right.
It's battery backup, that's all it is, but it only lasts, you're lucky if it lasts 2 hours, 3 hours. You don't have 500 acres of batteries for a 50-acre solar
Grid
field.
scale battery energy storage systems.
Yikes. Holy crow. Beats me, who wrote this, planning board?
Planning
Alice,
board.
all those guys?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they know what they're doing. Awesome, okay. Well, looks like we're gonna be skipping some of these things, so let's look. How about a motion for Articles 1 through 5, our consent agenda articles?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, and the vote is to recommend.
Yes.
Yep.
1 through 5, yep.
Yeah, 1 through 5. Alright, what's next?
Article
about
6 would be the cash flow
borrowing.
management one.
Yeah, so we've got 6, we've got 7 for revolving funds. 6 and 7. I will move that we recommend.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, 8 we are skipping, right?
Yeah.
Skip 8. Article 9 is money tech. Do we wanna vote on that, or do we wanna not vote on any budget stuff?
He's gonna go talk to her. When are you going to speak to them?
I'm not talking to Monty Tech.
Oh,
Are
Monty
you?
Tech, okay, never mind, I'm
Right.
QRSD, Monty Tech,
Yeah,
alright.
are we good with Monty Tech? Are we good with Monty Tech?
I think it's reasonable.
Okay, alright, then let's, my motion is to recommend Article 9.
Second.
Discussion,
None.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 10 we're gonna skip. 11,
Gotta pay it.
we have to pay it,
Yep.
so I move to recommend.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Article 12, I'd like a little bit more time to work on that one.
Okay, yep, not ready.
13 is the sweep article.
13 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17. And yeah, alright, so what did I say? I said 13 through 17. My motion is to recommend.
Second.
Discussion?
I have a discussion on 14.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not heading this way, but what is the purpose of a mini excavator for this town? They have a backhoe.
I don't know.
This
Get
would be,
in tight
this would be
spots.
for drainage culvert work.
A backhoe
Side of
can
the
do the
road.
same thing.
It gives them more flexibility and
So then they're gonna want a
less-
trailer to haul it, and then another 10-wheeler a year down the road to haul them both around. That's my thought. That's my discussion, that's all I got.
Well, I don't know nothing about no excavators, so
Well, I do, that's why I brought it up, and I don't think they really need one, but that's my personal thought.
Alright, well, I'm gonna move that we, okay, so we have a motion and second on the table, so that's the discussion. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. No for you?
On 14, no.
Okay. Yes on everything else?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm good with 2 and 3, I don't agree with number 1, under 14.
Are you good with everything on 13,
Yes.
15, 16, and
Yes,
17?
I
Okay.
am.
Alright, great. Okey-doke, and the rest of this is CPA and bylaws and zoning
That we don't chime in on.
that we're not asked to opine. Alright, so I think we did them all, right? Right, okay, good. Alright, so we're gonna have to have another meeting for 8 and 10. And we aren't going to have that happen before this warrant closes, right?
The warrant closes means that we don't add more articles on, but we still can tinker with them.
Oh, alright, okay,
So we have until mid-May to get our
when you print them?
yeah.
Okay, alright, so we can come back. When do you think you would be, well, who knows, 8 and 10 are like budget and school things, so we'll see what happens. Okay. Alright, fabulous. That's that. Alright. Do we have anything more on the warrants? We're done, right? Right. Approval of minutes. I learned my lesson. I will never wait this long again, ever, to do minutes, again, ever. My God. So hopefully you read them all.
I
And
did.
they're all wonderful.
It
And we're
was
gonna
like
have to go.
flashback.
We're gonna have to sort them out because everybody wasn't here for all of them, so. So we're looking at the June 7th minutes, and everybody was here except for you.
Yeah,
Cause you weren't,
I wasn't notified.
you weren't born yet, I don't think.
Oh, no, I wasn't
Maybe.
born. No, I was still hanging out.
I think you were hanging out.
Yeah.
And I think, and then there was the other, this was the meeting that Santa was invited to and didn't come. Alright, so, motion to approve the June 7th, 2021 minutes. Please. Second? Thank you. Alright, June 7th. Any discussion? No corrections, right, yay. All in favor? Thank you. Good. It's the 6th. Alright. July 14th. It's me, Peter, R, and Chuck. And how about a motion to approve these meetings?
Second.
Thank you. It's July 14th. All in favor? Thank you. October 5th, 2021. Both Peters were at this one.
Yay.
That's right. I think we finally figured out that you had been elected.
Yeah. I was just a ghost.
I know.
The ghost of Hubbardston.
Exactly. Alright, motion to approve these bad boys, October 5th. Thank you. Any corrections? Vote to approve. Yes. Yes, thank you. Then we have the December 13th meeting, which I wrote for the three of you, since nobody took any minutes, did they? No, they didn't. I wasn't at that meeting. So what I did was I lifted the minutes of,
Was that the one where we were,
with the select board.
for the select board,
Yeah, so I lifted, the minutes of the select board and stuffed them in here, so that's what they are. Aren't I good? I'm good. So, how about a motion to approve these things?
Second.
Okay, and I will not be voting on them, 'cause I wasn't there. Okay, so, all in favor of those minutes? Thank you.
You've been busy.
God.
Not enough time in the day.
There was crying and swearing
Oh, I don't
involved.
blame you. Drinking.
Oh my God, yeah,
wine.
and it's also drinking,
Yeah.
yes.
Spell check.
A lot.
Alright,
Copy and paste.
two, and then we have our last week's minutes, or the week before, or whenever that was, March 28th. And we were all there. I wondered if our new friend and acting, committee member Michael Stahl was gonna be joining us today, but I guess we weren't that compelling the last time, so he didn't come.
Oh.
That's right. So, can I have a motion to approve these minutes? Thank you. Second. Thank you. Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Yay. God, never again. Alright, what's that? I will scan and post these stickers. That's my last and final punishment for this. Other new business and matters not anticipated by the chair. I don't have any.
I got nothing for you.
Alright, good. Do we want to separately and independently maybe fool around with the spreadsheet that Josh shared with us? Did everybody get that email?
Yep. Yep.
And maybe screw around a little bit and see what, if anything, we can come up with.
I can look at it. I don't know if I can screw with it.
no, you had 4 different scenarios? on
No,
there.
so actually, those other tabs were because that was an old spreadsheet. So only
Oh.
the front tab is and it's really just that red box, which is what their budget is.
Okay.
And then it'll change. You'll see our percentages change. I subsequently added, like, we can put in, I have what their budget was for fiscal year 2022, and then you could just do like a 1%, 2% for them, and then see what it looks like for us. I can send that along as well. Yeah, ignore the other tabs. It's just that because that was from when we had our like doomsday scenario one and
Right.
like from,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So that's where the other
Right.
tabs were from.
Right.
But it's really only the front tab that I.
Okay, alright, okay, good. Yeah, if you wanna send that
Yeah,
that would be
I
good.
was working on that. Yeah.
Alright, I'll try to look at that between now and, Monday.
Do you wanna post for Monday?
Are we all, who would come to that board
I
meeting?
can't make it on Monday.
Do you wanna come, or
What board
to
meeting?
the select board meeting, and that's where
I can go to any.
who's coming,
The,
School?
Hubbardson.
the superintendent and, Cheryl, what's her name,
Duval.
Duval.
Yeah, I can
And-
be there. Monday night? Yeah, no problem. 6:30?
Would you post it?
Happy to.
Okay, great.
With the select board?
I'm gonna put it in my calendar so I go. Alright, good. Alright, anything else we should talk about?
I think we've covered a lot of ground and we did a lot of good work tonight.
Yay, good for us. Alright, motion to adjourn. Oh, what time is it?
Second.
Great, 7:53.